Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham. Welcome to the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. I played the intro video and then fortunately about 10 seconds from the end realized I hadn't hit the go live button. I'm sure the two guests probably realized that they were trying to signal me. But anyway, we are live now. Thursday night, 9 o'clock, we've got Rugby Championships back. We've also got NPC. I must tell you, to those like, and we've got Henrik in the studio who loves his NPC, but to those like me who are missing a variety of rugby games, the English Premiership and the URC are just around the corner as well. So looking forward to that. But let's start off by introducing the guests, both of them down in Cape Town. One of them sipping on what looks like a neat cola there of some sort. And it's Henrik Swart in his Springbok jacket. Henrik, good to have you on the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, Brent. Yeah, nice to be back. It is a cola, just not just cola, but yeah, like I told you, it looks like winter missed us down in Cape Town. Gavin's first winter down here. Well, I don't know. Well, he's probably been here before, but yeah, it's not that cold here down at the moment. We had a bit of rain last weekend, just NPC to bet on. So it was obviously for a few guys was a bit of a dour weekend rugby wise. I enjoyed the NPC, so. Yeah, the Rugby Championship is actually a bit of a sideshow for me, but it is a big deal for a lot of guys. So, yeah, looking forward to that as well. But the NPC for me at the moment is the main course.
That's it. And I can just say, I know that your NPC form has been pretty good. And Bertie Rotenbach, also a long-time member of the Good for the Game Forum and watches the show, he has been complimenting you down below the YouTube channel. Sometimes there's obviously a comment section where the guys have been impressed with your form there. Just before I introduce the next guest, just a reminder, if you do enjoy the show, give us a like. It actually helps the channel rankings quite a lot, and we're obviously looking to grow. We've also got some exciting news coming up on the casino front for those of you who enjoy a flutter. We're not going to do it on this channel. We'll have a separate channel starting in a week or two for those of you who do enjoy that side of gambling, which I must admit I used to be heavily into, but I kind of had to restrain myself after a while. But let's bring in the Oracle Rugby down below. Oracle, good to have you on the show, mate. Rugby Championships is back, and I'm sure we're looking forward to getting stuck into this weekend's action. Oracle, you muted? I don't think I've muted you.
Sorry, yes, just to answer, Henrik, how's it, everyone? I did live here in 99 to 2003, about 4.5 years when my kid was born, so 20-odd years ago. I do remember winter. In fact, I remember to be far worse than it is at the moment. We've seen blue sky almost every day, so I'm loving my time down in Cape Town, absolutely. I do apologise for the guys. I went quite heavily into South Africa in the game against the All Blacks 2 weeks ago. I do apologise if you followed me. I also lost money, don't worry, and as I said, I got some of it back in the Argentina game in that dodgy Brentford soccer match. So, yeah, it wasn't as bad for me. Looking forward to it, and yes, well done for the NPC. You've been doing very well, Henrik. I still haven't had a bet yet. I just can't get my head around that rugby. But happy to have some rugby, and I see it's a breakfast rugby this weekend. We've got Sean Nicholas Ruggabugger at the ground, and I think Harry's also down in Australia. So we've our kid's got his mates coming over for Saturday morning, and we're gonna have some breakfast and beer on Saturday and watch some rugby.
Excellent. Shark Brain coming in saying he's liked it and in his favourite channel on Thursdays. Thanks very much, Shark Brain. Just to mention, Harry, I think might be on the show next week. We're going to obviously look at the time difference, but I don't think it's as great as some of the other places in Australia. But if we don't, I might do a separate insert with Harry there. And to Rugger Bugger, yes, mate, we want those weather forecasts. And Brendan O'Connell, I must tell you, Coyle O'Connell is in Johannesburg at the moment. It's been great seeing him. And he's told me the other night he's absolutely itching for the English Premiership to get going as well. So looking forward to that. But let's get into the Rugby Championship then. And the first game we're going to start with, and Henrik, I think I'll start with you. I haven't had you on now for a couple of weeks. We've got Australia plus 4.5 against South Africa. Now, this is exactly where I handicapped the game. But we discussed this quickly last week as well. TAB New Zealand came out with Australia minus 4.5. And the money, I think the first bookie to open in South Africa had it as a choice game. And the money's obviously come for South Africa, but the handicap appears to have stabilised now at 4.5. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Brent, I'm also having a friend over on Saturday morning for this one. And just before the show, he sent me a message and asked me if we're going to have a bit of a boerewors at half time. So I'm going to have to start the fire early for this one, probably just at kickoff. Hopefully we won't get into the beers at that time of the morning already. This game, like you said, this game opened up plus for about South Africa, and I would have been all over the plus on South Africa at that levels. Then it came out the choice, and the bookmakers I can bet with, I couldn't get on to that either. And then 4.5, minus 4.5, minus 5.5 South Africa. I was pretty confident on that, but I realized at that levels the handicap won't shift. So at this stage, I haven't got any money on this game down yet. And I was lining South Africa up, but then this morning I saw the Australian team, and that's a very decent Australian team. I like the bench, the two front row forwards coming off the bench. Scott's here and Taniela Tupou. Tupou is a solid, very solid scrummaging tight head prop, and he's good around the breakdowns as well. And we've got the bench forwards is good as well, and I like a guy like Matt Phillip starting at number 5. That lock, I'm a very big fan of his work rate is immense. He carries a lot, and he gets over the gain line all the time. Actually, this is actually a much better Australian team on paper. I'm looking at it on my other screen than I expected them to put up. And with the box, we've got a few guys that I'm a bit concerned about. Dwayne Vermeulen, he's been over the years, he's been very good, but he's a bit short on rugby, short on minutes, and maybe short on form as well. And then you've got Joseph Weber, a huge concern again in the lineouts. The previous test, he was subbed on 30 minutes. There's big pressure on him to get the lineouts right. Obviously, they would have worked on it. I'm not sure. At this level, with this team that South Africa picked and the one with Australia picked, and the record South Africa have in Australia is very poor as well. I know they don't play in Adelaide a lot, and I don't know when last, if they have these two teams played there. But on this handicap, I'm going to go into plus. And this is the game. You saw that I tweeted that the one game I went to 180, and this is the game where I went for 180. I fancied the box on this minus, but now I'm solidly in the Australian camp. So I'm on a plus here. Australia plus, and I think for a bit of value, Australia 1-12 as well.
Yeah, I see Johan Esthuizen coming in there with the Australia 1-12. I must say, Henrik, very similar views to you. I would have been all over the plus 4.5 South Africa early had I got it. When I've looked at the teams now, and I see a lot of agreement in the comments as well. I'm looking at this team, and I'm not happy with this Bok team, and I really do. Like you, I don't know what I was expecting, but I somehow didn't expect such a strong Australian side. And when I saw it, I thought, no, I'm pretty impressed with that. And I actually think Australia also the value here, but. We got 2 out of 2 going for Australia, but I can tell you what, you can get long odds on 3 out of 3 because I don't know if Oracle's going to be thrown off the box just yet. Let's have a look. Oracle, a lot of opinion here that Australia actually value on the handicap. Is it going to see any Oracle rugby money?
and I'm going to tell them they're right, and I'm going to tell them why they're right. Every single time South Africa goes to Australia, we think this team will win. They'll win the game. They'll go over there. They'll smash them. They'll win both of them. And I saw a ridiculous stat the other day, which I'm surprised I didn't know. I knew it was bad. I didn't realize it was bad as this. I think we've won 5 out of the last 25 games over there, or we've won 5 out of 25 in total. I don't know what it is. But we got a horrible record over there. Interestingly, I've read some stats saying that South Africa have never played in Adelaide. Of course, that would be coming from Australia because we have played once there. It was obviously before our great-grandparents were born, and I think we won 50-0 or 45-0 or some stupid number. But we have played once before, and we did win the game. But, that has nothing to do with today's times. I don't know why they chose Adelaide. Maybe Rugabugger had some involvement because it's his first time down in Adelaide. I don't know. But I'll tell you what I'm doing here. I'm not going to back Australia. I'm going to tell you that backing Australia is probably the right decision. I'm not backing South Africa at this minus either. I've found, and again, going back to the website, I've backed South Africa in the last couple of games with massive, ridiculous prices at big minuses. I'm getting 5-1s and 6-1s and 7-1s around South Africa winning by 20 points or more. And that's what I'm interested in. So I'm going to reduce my stake here. I think it's far too risky. If you like South Africa, it's far too risky taking the -4.5 or -5.5, where you're getting double your money. I'd rather go for 5, 6, 7 times my money. I'm going to look for massive handicaps. In fact, I haven't had my bet yet, and I'll tell you why. Because the sentiment is going for Australia. Everyone's going for Australia. I'm going to tell you they're going to punt this South African number into a bigger number. I might even get some 12 or 13 to 1, about -21 or -22. For me, I'd rather spend a little bit of money here, small 1.5 unit stake on a massive minus South Africa. They should win this game on paper. South Africa have done far better than Australia have in this tournament. Argentina made them pay 2 weeks ago. I just think I'm not going to say I'm all over South Africa. Yeah, I'm spending a little bit of money, and I'm hoping for a big payday rather than risking it all on a 9 to 10 or even a 12 to 10 strike or even a Hein 4 to 10 double. I'm not interested in that. I'm not taking anything close to anything under 3 or 4 to 1. I'm looking for bigger than that. And I just think that South Africa should win this game. They've got to get over this hoodoo of going over there. But I'm also going to concede that you guys are right. The right thing to do here is back Australia. If you're looking for a proper strike, go for it. But if you're looking to spend a little bit of money like me this weekend and not risk everything, go for a bigger price. And I think I would rather go for a minus 16, 17, 20 points Australia. In other words, a big win, rather than trying to think Australia will beat South Africa by that much. I don't. If Australia win this game, it should be by a couple. But I'm not interested in throwing a lot of money at this game. This game is getting a maximum of 1.5 units from me. That's it. So I'd love South Africa to win this game by a long way. It's a small punt for me. I'm just not getting involved financially here.
I don't want to bring Henrik back in now, but first of all, I'm laughing at Steve Reed's comment because he said he sounds sober, but he's clearly under the influence of something. And I must admit, Steve, when Oracle started there, I was thinking the guy's going to tip Australia. He's actually going to go for Australia. We're finally going to see it. And then he made a hell of a case for Australia. And then he said, take the -21 South Africa. And I appreciate what Gavin's saying. He's not really getting involved, so it's more of an interest bet for him. But I must admit, I was a little bit confused there at the time. But Henrik, to take Oracle's point, maybe the other way, there's nothing to say if you really want to take a big price like that. Of course, you could probably get Australia -12 or -13 then, by the same token on the other side of the cap. So if you do like Australia and you like Gavin's strategy, you'll go with them. So, yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts on the bigger handicaps? And then also, Henrik, just your thought on total points. I did see Shark Brain, so I think could be a bit of rain about. I haven't seen any points lines yet.
I haven't checked well, I did actually check it earlier, and the weather actually looked okay. Quickly checking again, I'm going to, no, 0.1 millimeters, there won't be rain. Will be very good conditions, and it's the afternoon kickoff, and Paul Williams is the referee. He's not solidly over or under referee, so I'm not sure about that one. I don't like those big handicaps in this type of game, Brent. South Africa in Australia, normally it's very tight. I don't fancy either of these two teams to win by double digits. I say pick the team you like to win this game and take the 1 to 12. You and me both know that's a dangerous bet. You always want, like you say, you always one score. There's always the one score that can kill you on that bet.
You're never safe until that final whistle.
I think there's value in the 1 to 12 in this game. I think it will be close. So that's why I like Australia on the plus a bit here. I think they can win the game. So the 1 to 12 is a good bet. You can reduce your stake. Like Oracle, he reduces his stake a lot, taking the big minus. But I can't see that big minus coming through. I'd be very surprised if one of these two teams win by more than 10. I don't like the big minus. On the points, what did he say? Is the points out? 47 and all there?
I don't know if anyone on the chat has seen. I haven't seen anything, but I was just wondering what sort of game you're expecting.
Yeah, I guess about mid-40s, 47 thereabouts on total points, because the afternoon kickoff as well. Conditions look really good. But you've always got the box defense that you have to factor in, and the box attack is not firing on all cylinders, especially with Andre Pollard starting at 10 and Willie not there. because Willie he's our number one playmaker, so he's so important to us. Scoring tries, creating space for other guys. Willems has been brilliant. I love Willems at 15 as well. He's solid under the ball, but he's not that great playmaker that Willie is. So yeah, and Pollard's been kicking well this year, but I'm not sure on overs here. Because it's the afternoon kickoff, I won't find unders either. I'll have to see the quotes and then make a decision. But at this stage, just the 1 to 12 on Australia may be in a bit of a plus for me. But you can probably hear that I'm not very confident in this game, and in my opinion, there's better games to make money on this weekend.
Right, well, Joe Lyons coming in there, and he's the opposite of Oracle. They say take the 13 to 1 for the 15-point spread to Australia. So Gerard just mentioning, which is quite an interesting one, cricket field, so not so heavy underfoot, so it should be quite firm conditions.
Gerard is actually a very good friend of mine, and he doesn't watch the show a lot. So it's good to see him watching a bit live.
And he's going overs, Henrik. I mean, you can't have many overs friends, eh? You must be a bit of an exception to the rule.
I haven't learned him well.
I don't think Gerard enjoys watching rugby with Henrik. That's for sure. Dwayne the Cap is back and ready to go. So Farid is in agreement there on the box minus. Okay, that brings us to the next game on the cards, and I'm going to start with Oracle on this one. Oracle. It looks like this handicap is largely unchanged over the last week or two. Minus 22.5 New Zealand here over Argentina. Most of the betting sentiment I've seen has been Argentina on the plus. But having said that, I did see Henrik a while back was suggesting that New Zealand could slaughter them. So we'll get his views on that now. What are your views on this one?
I think there's too many digits in this handicap. I think this will be close, Brent. I'm all over this plus 22.5. In fact, I was happy with plus 21.5. Already taken a bet on that game. I'm surprised it's going out. I'm surprised out, should I say, bigger than, seriously, I'm surprised this was bigger than 15. 21, 22, 23, that sort of handicap we saw when Argentina started in this tournament. Yes, we saw as much as 27. In fact, I'm going to suggest that 27 is probably the highest we ever saw in New Zealand when Argentina played. So going at 22 points is sort of a try or half a try below its absolute maximum. And to try and convince me that Argentina at their worst against New Zealand right now is rubbish. This New Zealand team, yes, they beat South Africa 2 weeks ago. South Africa didn't steal a single ball. They didn't win any scrum penalties. New Zealand won the game. People ask me, aren't you disappointed? I mean, when you go minus 16 and they lose by 12, that's 28 points. That's your horse coming last. And as Steve Reed said to me the other day, it's like your horse sitting in the gate and doesn't even move, and eventually it gets close and then loses by a long way. I wasn't even in that bet. I was so far out. I had no chance of winning. But honestly, this Argentina team, they absolutely murdered this Australian team for, I'm going to suggest 140 minutes out of their total of 160. Australia played well for 20 minutes in that first game. In the last 20 minutes of the first game, they were unseen, unheard, unseen in the rest of the 140 minutes or 100 whatever it is. Sorry, I'm losing track of how many minutes I'm talking about. But Australia, seriously, they weren't anywhere in that game. Argentina came off a reasonable series against Scotland, beating them twice. And also having an horrendous one game. I just think they've got the hoodoo. They've beaten New Zealand already. They've been waiting for that ever since that number 2. I can't remember his name. I think he played for the Brumbies or whatever his name, the Argentinian. He was always talking about one day beating the New Zealand team, and they finally got it. So they're walking into this game, and I'm seeing that I'm getting double digits about their victory as well. I think that's crazy. I'm having a little strike at, seriously, anything over 10 to 1 here on the board for Argentina. Small stake as well, big price. And I've had a proper go at plus 21.5. And if this handicap goes out to 23 and 24, I'm going to go and borrow some more money, and I'm going to have another strike. I cannot see this getting anywhere close to 20. I think I'll be surprised if it's over 10. And in fact, I hear all of these 1 to 12 punters. You want to make a bit of money this week, take New Zealand 1 to 12 and cover your stake in Argentina on the board. Really, I think this will be a very, very close game. I think they're way out with their handicap here. I like this much more than I like South Africa minus. I think this is the game of the week. I'm going to get up for Saturday morning. I am going to have a beer on Saturday morning. Don't worry, Hendrik, I've got nothing else to do on the day. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm happy. I'm going to have a beer breakfast on Saturday morning. I'm going to be waking up during the South African game, and I'll be wide awake and fully ready for this New Zealand game that follows.
Right, Hendrik, let's see what you think there, because I know that you were in the early days, you were on the New Zealand minus here, and when you said on Twitter you did the switch, I wasn't sure if maybe you went, or am I thinking of a different game?
Yeah, no, Brent. I think I wasn't on. I think you're thinking about Brendan, the conductor's post on the.
Oh, I'm mixing it up. Sorry, man. Sorry.
He likes the minus, and I replied on his one, and I said no, the Argentina plus is juicy here. So I've been on Argentina all the way here. So yeah, now I don't know whether it's a bit of a concern, because the last time me and Oracle on South Africa, we were aligned 2 weeks ago and it went horribly south, but I'm 100% with him on this one. I'm all the way in the Argentinian camp here on the plus 22.5. I think it's way too big. But I think the one I like more here, and Sporting Tips on Twitter, that's his bet. He highlighted as well the first half handicap on Argentina plus 10.5. I think they're going to come out firing here, and I don't be surprised if Argentina leads at half time. It just seems that kind of game to me, that they can come out here, score a few points, and New Zealand, not everything goes their way. This game is in Christchurch. Christchurch not a happy hunting ground for the All Blacks. They normally have a lot of Crusaders in their team, but somehow Christchurch is not that good a ground for them. Eden Park, obviously the best one. Then you've got Pablo Matera in the Argentina team. He's been playing for Crusaders the whole season in Christchurch. I like Argentina a lot here. I think they'll hold their own here, and they played good rugby against Australia in that first two tests. The first test, at halftime, they went in with a decent lead, and I thought they had that game in the bag, and then the second half happened. The second game, they outplayed Australia by a long way. And Australia, they're not that bad. Normally in Super Rugby, they struggle, but as soon as Australia put together their national team, they're pretty decent. So beating Australia by that margin, Argentina, they've got to be decent. And I'm a big fan of their coach. I've always been a fan of his. So yeah, I'm 100% with Gavin here. I think they run New Zealand close here. They're going to give them a bit of a fright here. So I like the plus 22.5, and I like the plus 10.5 half-time handicap more. And then on the points, Brendan, the conductor, he mentioned points last week already on this one. He mentioned 47.5 on. Well, it might have been earlier this week on the forum. I don't know, but I remember 47.5 total points, 35 on New Zealand, and 12.5 on Argentina. Yes. And that 12.5 on Argentina, that's very juicy. They're going to score at least 2 tries here. The All Blacks defense with those 2 centers, David Tavili and Rico Ioane. Geez, that is really scraping the barrel for a center combination. They are not even Super Rugby quality, in my opinion. I know it's a big statement. Tavili, he played some decent rugby for Tasman a few years ago at the NPC level. He's been all right in a very good Crusaders team. Rico Ioane, brilliant wing, but he's a crap 13, and your 13 is your most important player on your defense in the back line. Yeah, they've struggled on the defense. So, yeah, Argentina, they're going to beat the 12.5 easy here. So, one of the best bets of the weekend, Argentina over some points here.
Right, a couple of guys coming in with comments. I'll just focus on this one. Farida and AB still have glaring weaknesses, the forwards and the backs. Don't forget their coach there, Farida. But anyway, we mustn't talk too badly about them after the last time out. But yeah, certainly, I must admit, I'm very much in agreement with you boys there. I was at one stage thinking New Zealand might put them away, but the more I think about it, the more I think that definitely Argentina on the plus is the way to go. Just a reminder, our newsletter will be back out tomorrow. And looks like I've got a fairly, not a straightforward choice, but I'm really probably going to be looking at these games. It's going to be either Argentina plus or potentially Argentina plus or Australia plus or Australia on the board. But let's go, because I'm sure Gav isn't going to want to sit through the NPC chat there. So let's get his, Gav, let's get your best bets. I think we know what it is. It's in this game. But also, if anything else catches you on the weekend, anything else maybe in the, South Africa to come back from the dead and beat England? Oh, sorry, I think I've muted you this time. Sorry. Oh, you muted yourself. Sorry, Gav.
Honestly, I think South Africa win this test match. I think, a couple of the guys at work said to me, geez, that's a bad score. And they were like, 88-7 or whatever it was. And I said, but hang on a second. You only know if a score's good when both teams are battered. I know that they're sitting at 111 for 3, but they could be 210 all out, and it's a 60 start. Batting third is better than batting fourth in most cases. So, yes, South Africa can still win this match, absolutely. I just want to mention something that Henrik said, just before I started talking. It's very often, it's not often, it's rare. But when it comes up, my ears prick straight away and I hear something. Like he's talking about Argentina getting 12 points in this game. That's what they're thinking. I'm going to tell you, if you like the plus 21, you have to like the 12 points here. You've got to go overs. In fact, never mind are they going to get a couple of tries. I say their kicks beat 12 points. I'll be very surprised if first Argentina don't get 20 points in this game. Never mind 12. Honestly, I'm going to say this is even a better bet than the handicap. And I'm not even a points punter. It just sounds so low. And I remember
Brent, Gavin, I think just a cautionary note on that one. I'm not sure there's any points lines out at the moment. I think that might have been an early line on TB. So it might not be that low. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. What Henrik's saying is right. It's a 37-12 at 49 points, or it's a 42-13 at 55 points, or whatever it is. They take in the handicap. They subtract the two, and all I'm saying is if you're getting Argentina points, honestly, at less than 15 here, I'd say that's an absolute buy. You can go over with confidence in that. That's even better than the 22 points because, I'm not a points punter, but to survive in the 22, you're going to ask me, is New Zealand more likely to win this game? Is Argentina more likely to stay in a 22 handicap scoring 7 points? That means New Zealand going to get 29. New Zealand probably going to get 30 something here. So for them to survive at 22, they're going to have to get close to 20 anyway, a 15 to an 18. So in my head, when I'm looking at a game like this, I'm looking at Argentina 20, 22, 25 points, and I'm thinking New Zealand have to score more than 50 to beat this, or close to 50, and that's unlikely. So I'm looking at the top end, the other side of the bet before I make a decision like this. So yes, although I'm not a points punter, I'm obviously thinking about how many points a team needs to get to win it. And just to go back to the Australian game. Now, as I said, us South Africans, we go into these matches, we always confident. On paper, we look good. I'm not going to argue whether this team looks good or not. I'm talking about history here. We've had a bad history going to Australia, and a lot of the time we go there as favourites. I mean, here we're starting at -4. We don't always start at favourites there. We're starting at -4 here. All I'm saying is don't get involved in a big price here, because when I say, a big stake to win ratio. In other words, don't really get stuck into anything under 2 or 3 to 1 here, because that's when you're going to get annoyed. Sure, you can get it right. I mean, Australia can win this game by 1. South Africa can win the game by 6 or 7. Of course, that can happen. It's just one of those games that could go horribly wrong. We've seen Australia beat us by 30, 25 points before. We've seen South Africa go to that Brisbane when they didn't even look like a reasonable team at the time, and they go over there and they break a record they'd never won before, and they won by 40 points or 38 points or whatever it is. I'm just saying that the range in this Australia South Africa game could actually be quite wide here for what's achievable on the day. The New Zealand Argentina game, I think the expected range is much closer. I think this is seriously something between 5 and sort of 15 points for me. I don't think it's going to go outside of that range. It's possible Argentina can win the game, and at that price, I am going to have a strike. Sure, it's possible, but I really can't see it going either way past that. I think it's about a 10, 12 point range between 5 and 15 points New Zealand over. I can't see it being more than that. Best bet for me, honestly, Argentina plus and Argentina over points if they're under 15. 15 is the max. Don't go over 16 because the 22 can still arrive. You have to draw the line in the sand, and for me, it's 15, 16, 15 and a half. If it's over that, I wouldn't take it and rather go for the plus. But yeah, honestly, best bet for me, Argentina. And I'm not involved in the national production of cement. I know that Henrik is an expert. He can carry on. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to watch it on YouTube. And yeah, enjoy the weekend. And I'm going to enjoy my breakfast on Saturday morning with my beer and my braai.
Excellent. Maybe we'll do a live crossing. I'll have Brendan O'Connell with me here. I'll probably be sitting as well in the lounge. Maybe we'll do a crossing with all the boys at halftime or something to discuss the game. But Gav, thanks very much. And I do appreciate that quick summary at the end, because I must admit I had no idea what your best bet was until you gave us that summary. I was doing all sorts of maths in my head. But great having you on as always. Look forward to seeing you in Cape Town in a couple of weeks. And we're going to chat a bit of NPC now. Thanks very much to Oracle Rugby.
Cheers,
Oracle departs there at some of the comments. Aussies will be quick to the breakdown, says Gerard. Yeah, good question, Mark. Why did the Boks have a poor record against Australia? Not too sure about that one. And then Michelle Alistair Smith. I don't recall Michelle commenting before. No close game. Will Jordan will run them ragged. Almost at least 2 tries for Will Jordan. Well, there's someone coming out in favour of the Kiwis. And Farid, back-to-back games. Argentina are bad back-to-back games, but had a week's break. Yeah, that's fair enough. Right, Henrik. Well, interesting one there. So Oracle and you tonight. Sorry. I think Oracle got aligned on a game. I mean,
that's not always good, eh? From experience, that's not always good. When we align, like I said 2 weeks ago, we aligned heavily on the Boks and we got that one badly wrong. But I don't know why Australia does well against. We have a bad record in Australia. It's just one of that things. But just one other point on Argentina, and I see one of the guys saying now, some weeks they just fade. You get to Argentina, they get up for certain games and they fade otherwise. So if they don't pitch up for this one, which I really think they will, then you can back them next week again. And if they get up for this one, you can maybe go the other way. It's a strange analogy, but that's a lot of time that's the way it is. But let's get into the NPC. I'll leave it to you to call if it.
Yeah, let's go for the games here. So I'll lead you through with the handicaps. Right, we got Tasman up against Canterbury. Tasman plus 8.5.
Yeah, so tomorrow morning this game. Tasman. The past few years they've been very good, and but last year they started showing a bit of cracks, and this year even more. And Canterbury, they were the opposite. The last few years they haven't been the Canterbury of old, and this year they look better, even though they lost to Taranaki last weekend. They were 17 points favourites against Taranaki, and Taranaki won the game. This game, Canterbury, this game is played in Blenheim. Most Tasman games are played in Nelson, but I see this one is played in Blenheim, so I think it's about 60 kilometers from Nelson. So it's a home game for Tasman, but it's not the field they normally play on. And I had a look at both teams. I see Owen Franks is not playing for Canterbury. Obviously, when I saw the Canterbury team, that was a bit of a concern for me. But the Tasman team look really average on paper. They've got good centres, but that forward pack of theirs, they've got Andrew Makaleo, the hooker and the captain. But apart from that, it's very average in my opinion. And in Canterbury, they've got a solid team here, and they've, apart from last weekend's game where they lost against Taranaki, they looked really good in the first 2 games. So I think the minus is the way to go here. It opened about, I think, 5.5, 6.5. So there has been a bit of money for Canterbury. At that level, I'll still go Canterbury minus here, and I think they'll beat the minus easily here.
Henry, quick comment on the points, because we got points on the first 2 games, 53.5 total points.
I haven't checked the weather, and I don't know who the ref is, but I think overs. last week's game, Canterbury against Taranaki, was played in a mud pit, so you have to probably ignore that one. The other games, Canterbury, they scored points against Wellington, they scored points against Manawatu. So yeah, I think, and also Tasman, they can score points. They didn't have it all their way last week against Harbour. But yeah, I think overs on 53.5, but I'd rather maybe look at Canterbury points overs here. But I like the minus more.
Right, 100% the minus there for Henrik. Waikato against Manawatu. Big handicap this one. Henrik, minus 25.5 on the home team.
Yeah, the Manawatu Turbos, they were really impressive last year. And this year, they've shipped some big points. They've been smashed all 3 games so far. And Brett Cameron, he's still playing for them, and he steered the ship last year. He was very good. And I think they're just missing Jamie Booth. And it looks like he should have gotten a lot more credit last year for their good performances. I'm not sure. This is a big handicap, Brent. But and the thing, Waikato, they've got a very nice backline, but they've got Damien McKenzie at fly-off, and he's a horrible fly-off. He's a very good fullback, but he's a terrible fly-off, so that's a concern. But you have to be a brave man to take the minus, or to take the plus on Manawatu, the way they're playing at the moment. I'm not sure what the weather is like for this game. I haven't checked Hamilton's weather, but if I see Mike Fraser is the ref, somebody says there. But if the weather is good here, you have to go overs. Waikato games normally very, very high scoring.
This is 55.5. I see there's a line out. 55.
Yeah, I'll still take the overs. Well, I'll probably take overs. Yeah, I'll take the overs total points. Because Manawatu might score a bit of points as well. Or if you really fancy Waikato, just go overs on their points. But Waikato and Manawatu games, you can't go unders. Because Manawatu ships a lot of points, and Waikato, they are team scoring points and they ship points as well. So you have to go overs in this one. So at 25.5 handicap, probably minus for me, but not very confident. But points here, I think overs on points is the way to go here. And 55.5 in NPC games, you get a lot of NPC games that goes to 80 points and stuff like that. So 55.5, it sounds big, but it's not that big. It's like 7 points higher than a mid-40s, late 40s, and total points, and it's just one try. So yeah, definitely overs on that line.
Farid coming in and just correcting his post. He had said Waikato on the plus at first. So Farid, I thought you were going to go with the opposite strategy to Oracle. Instead of taking the 5 to 1s, take the 1 to 100s there. But anyway, yeah, Waikato on the minus. A bit of a division there, I must say, amongst the live chat there. But let's move on to the next game, Henrik. I don't have a points line for this one, but Hawke's Bay minus 7.5 against North Harbour at Sunbet.
Yeah, in my opinion, probably the better of the game of the weekend on the NPC. This one, it's a Shield challenge. Hawke's Bay, they've held the Shield for a while now, and they always get up for the Shield. So this is a very big game. First up Saturday afternoon, 4 a.m. South African time, afternoon game in New Zealand. North Harbour has been in really good form. Guys like Tavita Lee, Sean Stevenson, fly off. Now can't remember his name. The Blues, he's played for the Blues as well. Anyway, yeah, he's been kicking well. Brent, in my opinion, this game is priced up the wrong way. Even though Hawke's Bay really gets up for the Shield, I like North Harbour a lot. They are in really good form, and they will be up to take the Shield from Hawke's Bay. And in my opinion, the Shield changes hands this weekend. I like North Harbour to win the game, obviously on the plus as well. This game up and up, 5.5, 6.5 thereabouts, and I saw 8.5 earlier in the week as well. So there was a bit of money for Hawke's Bay, and obviously I like that. And I've already put my money down on the plus. This is actually the only money I've got down at the moment. These North Harbour plus and North Harbour to win the game. got more than 2-1 on All-Farber to win the game, and I like that a lot. So I'm very strong on All-Farber, yeah.
Right, Fareed, very much on the same page as you there. Auckland -8.5 against Otago. Now, the other game kicks off at 4 in the morning, so it's a nice curtain raiser for us. If you're going to get up early and have your first beer at 4 a.m., Gavin, you can watch the NPC there. But this game, interestingly enough, kicks off at 7 o'clock, which means it'll actually clash with the Bok game, which is a bit disappointing. -8.5 Auckland against Otago.
Yeah, Auckland, they were disappointing last weekend, but in Otago, they've been all right so far, and they've punched well, but they've also, even when they won some of their games, like when they played Hawke's Bay, probably Hawke's Bay's second string team, they won, but I expected them to win further because of the team Hawke's Bay put out. And I saw Otago's team for this game, and I'm not too convinced. Joshua Arne at fly-off, he's a good player at again, a fly-off that's better at fullback, in my opinion. He struggled to get the Highlanders going when he played fly-off for them as well. And I haven't got the team in front of me. I saw the team on Twitter earlier, but there was a few concerns, in my opinion, on the team as well. I think James Lynch is on the bench as well. So I like Otago. Yeah. In Otago, they're normally very good at home, and I expect them to bounce back here. If I remember correctly, they lost against Bath Plenty last week. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. So I like the minus here. This one also, I think, opened up to 1 or 2 points lower, and there was money for Auckland. But I like Auckland pretty strong, yeah. Not the same levels as the previous game, but also a strong minus bet here for me.
Right, strong on the minus there. Let's just go back. Quite a few guys agreeing with Johan Esterhuizen's treble, and just get your opinion on this one quickly, Hendrik. His treble for the week: Argentina plus, Canterbury minus, North Harbour plus. I'm guessing you're very much on board with that.
Yeah, no. I like that a lot. The Argentina plus, while I like it, it's obviously a dangerous bet. With the All Blacks, it's always dangerous because they've got the kind of players that can create anything out of nothing, like Will Jordan and Jordy Barrett, those type of guys. But I like taking New Zealand on at the moment, and Argentina, they're playing very good rugby. So I think that's a very solid treble there.
Right, let's get into the next game then. Bay of Plenty, -8.5 against Counties. This game is nice and early Sunday morning. So if you've had a big win the morning before in the box, you can wake up and punt this one, 4:05 South African time.
Yeah, the Steamers against the Steelers. Bay of Plenty, they've been in great form. Counties, they started off well, and then last Friday, they were a bit disappointing. At home, I have to go with the minus here. Counties, they've got a brilliant fullback, Nana Saturo. He creates tries out of nothing, and the more they get him into the game, the better they play. They've got a few good forwards as well that's really workhorses. But yeah, Bay of Plenty, they've played well the whole season so far, well, the 3 weeks so far. Yeah, so the minus. Adam, I have to take Bay of Plenty on the minus here. Not strong, but I like them on the minus.
Right, and the next one's Wellington, -5.5 at home to Taranaki.
Yeah, this is probably, of all the NPC games, this is the one I'm the most unsure about this weekend. I normally like taking Wellington on. Taranaki used to be a team that I backed last year. They were brilliant. The first 2 weeks, I backed them and they cost me badly. Last weekend, I was on them last weekend, but not big, on the plus against Canterbury, and that came through. But yeah, that first 2 weeks, it just puts me off. I'm not sure what to do on him. Last week, Stephen Perafeta played for him again, and he did well, and they won the game. But it was in very difficult conditions. It was a mud bath. So I'm not sure what to expect from Taranaki, and I like taking Wellington on. So I'm unsure about this one. If anything, I'll probably lean to the plus because Taranaki can hold their own up front. But nothing strong in this game, Brent.
Right, just a few of the guys coming in the comments. We won't spend too long on it, but Sharpbrain had said Japan and Ireland in a friendly, but that's actually a women's game. So first of all, just to say, Henrik, I was just putting it out there to the guys. I think it's probably an area we got to start paying more attention to the women's game. And one of the reasons I say that is because, unlike the men's game, where the bookies are really up to speed on everything, we may get the odd opportunity in the women's game. I mean, Southpaw, I remember the other day, went high on South Africa. We went over 17.5 points South Africa against Spain. I think the bet arrived in like the 30th minute. You looking forward to the Women's World Cup?
Brent, I like the women's rugby. I've always, for the last few years, I obviously I don't bet on the same level stakes-wise than on the men's games, but I really like to follow it, especially the Six Nations women's, and also I actually dabble a bit in the women's cricket as well, but not on big level as well. But the World Cup should be good, and there you should get a better feel of the teams. I remember. Probably 8 years ago, because it was 2 World Cups ago on the Women's World Cup. At that stage, I was betting very small still, but I had a good Women's World Cup. So I've always liked the women. And a lot of time, I know, like you said, now South, you got overs on South Africa, but a lot of times you can do quite well on unders as well, because the girls, they don't kick that well. If it's a try-on conversion, they don't even get the ball to the posts when they kick. So yeah, if you can follow a bit of the games and you know a bit of the team, there's definitely value, because I'm sure if you watch a bit of the games, you're going to know more about the bookies, but because I don't think they watch a lot of it.
Excellent. Well, let's get on to the final NPC game of the weekend, Sunday morning South African time. Northland -5.5 against Southland, who I think have done pretty well for both you and the conductor in recent weeks, Henrik.
Yeah, I've called Southland pretty good so far. They've made me a bit of money. I've called them for the win twice, and being on the plus, they didn't pull through for the win, but the plus came through just. So yeah, I'm definitely up on them for the season, but Northland as well. So this is 2 teams that normally struggle in the NPC. They're the 2 bottom dwellers on the lock, but both these teams are playing good rugby, and they're going to scare a few teams. Yeah, there should probably come a few comments. I'm checking. I haven't seen comments in this, but this is a big unders game, probably, and I know a lot of guys are lining this up as an unders game, so it will be interesting to see what the bookies come up with here. If it's if it's 50s, late 40s as well, I'll take unders here. But if it's 50s or up, I'll be very confident unders here. On the handicap, yeah, as much as I like Southland, I probably have to go with Northland on the minus at home here. Both these teams playing well. Like I said, I'm not confident on the handicap. I think the better bet here is unders on total points, whatever the line.
Agreeing with your sentiments there on the handicap, although, as you say, not your strongest fancy. But Henrik, that brings us to the best bets. And I mean, you've got a much bigger range to pick from than Oracle, of course, because we just had the 2 games there. But yeah, I mean, obviously, tell us what you're strong on this weekend.
So I'm gonna, from all the rugby, obviously North Harbour, I like them to win. So +7.5 is obviously a very strong bet for me. So that's my best bet of the weekend. But if I'm only going for the Rugby Championship, I like that Argentina overs, wherever it comes out, even if it's 15.5 points. I like Argentina to score more than that, because I don't rate the All Blacks defense at the moment, and they're not well coached, so they give more penalties, so there will be more scoring opportunities for Argentina. So yeah, my strongest bet North Harbour on the plus, and second strongest probably Argentina over some points.
Excellent. I think it was Peter Paul earlier on the show said that TAB New Zealand do have 12.5. So with a bit of luck, Henrik will get 12.5, 13.5 on Argentina. And I'm hoping it comes up overnight, because I'd like to get that one probably in the newsletter tomorrow as one of the best bet, if not the best bet. But thanks very much. I'm also going to take your NPCs and work out a little of an ACCA. I'll look at your Hans picks, and I haven't done an ACCA for a while, but I've got a bit more time tomorrow morning, so I'll put something together there. But Henrik, great chatting to you. Looking forward to meeting up with you as well in a couple of weeks when I'm down in Cape Town. I know you're going to the Sevens and that with the family, though. Must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm going on Friday with my wife and my kids, and then I've actually got an invite for the Sunday as well. going with other family, just me then. But yeah, so I'm not the biggest Sevens fan, but it's the World Cup, so it's not something that comes around every day. So yeah, I'm going on the Friday and the Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. And that's the weekend you coming down. But luckily, you said you're more than just for the weekend.
Yeah, I'll be there.
So
I'll be there for a while, and also got a bachelor party to look forward to in that while I'm there. So yeah, it's going to be good. And I might even be spending some time under the roof of the Oracle. I'll make sure I lock the door at night. No doubt about that.
Yeah, you might get a beer at 7 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to meeting you as well. Meeting up with you. But thanks for having me.
You and I have known each other since the early days when I started the website in about 2000 with Brendan, about 2005, 6, somewhere around there. You came in shortly after that. Yeah, I mean, that's how long we've known each other without meeting each other.
Yes. So that's 17 years, eh?
It is actually amazing. We've never met. So looking forward to that. And any other guys in the Cape Town area, follow the show, Good for the Game, whatever, on Twitter. We'll put it out there. It's going to be nothing organized, but we'll have a get together probably on the Friday night because I've got the bachelors on the Thursday, and we'll have a get together for those who can make it, and probably another one too, maybe for lunch or something for some of the guys who can't make the Friday who might be at the rugby like Henrik as well. Anyways, gents, that's it for the show. Excellent participation as usual from all the guys in the live chat. Thank you very much to Oraclepedia, or Oracle Rugby as I prefer to call him, and of course the unders taker. Thanks, Henrik. We'll see you guys all next week. What's it? 9 o'clock for the Handicap Rugby Chat that matters.
Cheers, guys.